Hello everyone and welcome back. In the last lecture, we saw how to create series from dictionaries and from arrays. In this lecture, we'll continue our discussion of series. So in the last example, we saw that we can specify the index to see our series in whatever order we want. Let's see one more example. pd.series d1, and then let's specify our index. So I'll use the above index C, A, and B. C, A, B, and instead of D, I'll pass another index that doesn't exist. Let's say X. What do you think I'll get in this case? So in this case, we'll see C4, A3, B5, and then for X, we'll see what is known as NaN, no value. Let me show you what that is. We have 4, 3, 5, and then for X, we get what's known as no value. This is not a number. This means that there is no data, so it represents a missing data in pandas. We'll see a lot of this in discussion about data analysis and how to deal with this, how we can remove this from our data and so on. I just wanted to point this out. Great. Next, let's see how we can create series from scalar values. Let's look at an example. So from scalar values, we have pd.series. Then we can pass for our data type, we'll pass some scalar value. Let's say 8. And then we can pass our index, or we can simply leave it like this. pd.series 8. And then we have, this is a simple series, index, and then the value, right? 8. Okay, let's build on this. pd.series, in this case, we'll use 8, and then we'll pass index, let's say X, Y, and Z. Let's run it. So now we have a series object. Note that we have values for all indexes as 888. So this is a simple way to create a series from scalar values. Notice here the data type is integer. If we want to convert this to a float, we can simply specify it here. Let's say instead of 8, we can make this 8.0. That way the data type will be float. Now we have a float. And series objects act very similar to arrays. So some of the functions and methods that we've seen on arrays, we can use those methods on series also. Let's look at an example. So if I call the series object that we created in the last lecture, we have this, right? SS. And then we can call the index method on our series object. Let's say index 3, and run it. We get negative 0.22. That's here, right? Index 0, 1, 2, and 3. So index 3, we have a value negative 0.22. And we can use the slice method also. For instance, I can say we call our series object, and then let's say grab everything up to index 2. So that means indexes 0 and 1. So it will grab A and this value, B and this value. So index is 0 and 1. Let's run it. So I have A and B. And then some other examples, let's see. For instance, I can say on my series object, grab my series where, let's say, my series is maybe less than the median of our series. There's a method called median. So what this will do is it will calculate the median of our series, and then anything less than our series median will be displayed. Let's run this. So we have B, C, and F. And similarly, so this is less than our median, right? Similarly, we can call anything greater than our median, SS dot median, right? We got the other three, A, B, A, D, and E. We have seen before that NumPy has an exponent method. We can also apply that on our series object, for instance. So we can call the NP NumPy's exponent method, and then we pass our series object, and then we get that. So that's how series are similar to arrays. And in that token, series are also similar to dictionary objects, and we can use some of the methods that we use on dictionaries. Let me show you an example. So we call our series object again. We have that. Let's say I want to grab this value, negative 0.605. How can I do that? So we have our series object SS, then we simply pass the index F and run it. So we have negative 0.605. And similarly, if I want to change the value at index F to some other value, I can do that too. So we have our series object. So change the value at index F to some other value. Let's say 2.333. Let's run it, and then if I call my series object, now we see that the value at index F is 2.33. Good. And some other methods that we can apply to series objects that makes a dictionary type. We can say, for instance, I can say is F in our series object SS. That will give us a Boolean result, true or false. So in this case it's true, since F exists in our series. Whereas if I say W in SS, we get false. One thing to note is that if I say, let's say SS, earlier we saw that SS at index F, we got a value of negative 0.6, right? However, if we pass an index that doesn't exist and try to get a value, let's say SS at index T, we'll get an error, right? That's because this index T does not exist.